Well, the battle pass is it's ending in 6 days. I mean, I haven't heard anything about the new card set, but that probably means the season's ending. So I figured I'd make a video on my deck that I did get to GM. Spoilers. I mean, I don't know, for the longest time the amount of points I got is pretty far. So I think even if I know, but if anything, I just want to make sure I get the video so that people can use it last second if they want to, if they've seen how I play the deck and they understand. The concept's pretty much the same as the one I've been building. The only thing is I did shift to a little more mid offensive because I have Albert. I'll take it like card by card. The understanding of the one Lyria is that I could have more if I wanted to, but it's more like it's one off card in this whole deck that provides good synergy, right? This one Lyria is basically a tutor, and if you don't know what a tutor is, it's like a card game term in which you use a card in order to search another card. Shadowverse doesn't have that many cards like that. Generally, it's just raw draw power, so tutor is nice. And the good thing about this is since Golden Knight is 7 and most of the deck falls below 7, it always tutors Golden Knight. So that's why it's pretty nice, because sometimes I'll tutor with Lyria first in order to get a Golden Knight, even if I have one in hand. So when I drop Golden Knight, they'll always assume it's the one I tutored, and they might overcommit to the board, and then I just drop the second one, right? So Lyria is pretty good in that sense. I'm assuming some other decks do run her more just because she's a 1/1 barrier, right? So if she's 6 on board, she'd probably hit face, especially in a comp where you can boost units. But overall, I'd put her at a 1 just so I could tutor. There's a lot of weird ratios in this deck, but it's probably more of a bias than really a good thing. Ignominious Samurai is Chief fell out of favor for me for a bit. Last patch, I think. I didn't use her as much. I was also playing a lot more Haven, but sometimes you just have these really sticky boards into Abyss, into especially Haven, where some of their units just don't take more than 3 damage. Ignominious Samurai just takes care of them, and that's pretty much why she's here. That's that Bane is the biggest reason why I have an Ignominious Samurai in here. It easily clears so that you can go for like a Zeta combo, or if you need like if you have like a full board Seafawn and they have like a really sticky ward that you cannot take care of, that's why this card is pretty good in here. You have any other just like immediate destruction or banish? Some other decks have that, like just destroy a unit or banish a unit. This mostly relies on just doing damage, so you don't really have that many ways of dealing with the board like that. Most of them have to do with like damaging. In the case of like Gilneas, where you would -2 or use her spell, or Vouse, but I'll get to that in just a second. But that's why I really need the Ignominious Samurai at 3 just to clear those boards, right? Luminous Lands, what can I say? Just a pretty good card. I can see getting Power Cup one day. Since that one, you know, it's been pretty good. It provides a rush. It can provide rush to other soldiers, you know. Any officer. So if we're looking for synergy, Prim's Silent Mate is an officer. So that in itself is worth, because you can drop Luminous Lance onto 4/3, then like on turn 4 or 3 on coin, you drop Silent Maid, and then let's say they have a really like big early stat stick, Silent Maid can take care of it, or you can have a threatening 3/3 Bane ward, and it's just good, right? Alongside with Rush, it's just the thing. This Rush has a lot of utility, even with Gilgaria or with Luminous Mage. Just having a 2-drop 1/2 that can deal with that, and then also being a 1/2 sometimes with Super Evo, it's enough to deal with boards, because like maybe the Knight procs barrier, then Luminous Lance just kills the unit. So there's a lot of utility in Luminous Lance Trooper. And then Prim's all around pretty good. The MVP is Silent Maid, because getting 1/1 when Prim's on field and Bane is just a pretty menacing ward, right? A 3/3 like 3/3 Bane ward for 2 mana is pretty strong. Pretty good. And on top of the fact that if Prim super evos, the 1+1 makes a difference. Believe it or not, if you can 1+1 a whole bunch of units, it either you use it to kill, or you can clear some boards that you otherwise wouldn't be able to. And then also you could combine it with like Seal Phone, like you have the Prim with Ambush, and you super Evo Prim so that you stack Seal Phone, and then all the other units not only get the 1+1, but they also maybe get like super Evo'd. And then since Prim was Ambush, she just goes in for like 5, right? No, she would still go in for 4, but she's just a pretty good card. 2 bodies for 1 for a 2-drop. It's like you drop her 2, next turn you drop Maid, or you have coin, and then on turn 3 you just drop both. Overall, I think Prim is good, and the Super Evo, like the more I played with her, the more relevant I noticed it actually is. A lot of times I was just using her for Silent Me because it's just the MVP of it, but the ambush into the 1+1, or just having Prim as ambush is good enough sometimes to push, because sometimes they'll be at 13 and they think they're safe, but the one that's like 1 hit from Prim and then Super Evo Albert, they're done, right? They're still in lethal range. So overall, I think Prim is like an all-star for the 2-drops. Luminous Lance is just really good utility, and Ignominious Samurai is like kind of necessary in this deck in particular to deal with those really sticky boards that you can't deal with otherwise. And like I said, Lyria is basically a tutor. So that's all the 2-drops. As for 3-drops, we only got 2. Gilneas is also utility. Either Board Breaker with the -2, or assisting with the kill because of the +2, right? And sweetness of veracity is a backup plan. Most of the time, if you're aiming for sweetness of veracity, it's more of a losing position, but if you can get to it, this is pretty good. And also, if you hit 10 and you're on coin, somehow you're able to preserve your coin, like you're not pressured to win or lose because you have coin and you've made it to 10. You can sweetness of veracity into Sandoval, because that is 11, and basically you wipe one unit because 5 is pretty chunky to most, and then you do 5 to face, and either all the pings go to face from Sandoval or even split. You're more than likely able to do like 10 damage pretty easily if RNG helps you out, right? If you have pretty much board clear off the sweetness, that's 15 damage. So in itself, it is a win con, but you're kind of hoping you win before that. But if anything, it is just good. And just having drain and this being like you do -2 to a unit, and then you drain with like this through super evil for 5. That's board clear and heal. So overall, Healness just as good as the set she came out. Good utility. Like I said, she's more of a backup plan or utility. Bounce, I mean, what do you say? It's just clean up board. If he has an enhance possible OTK, right? He's a really good card. I always find it sweet so Bounce, because even in OG, you know, you get to pick one of the 2 good bullets, and in this game he just straight up takes out a unit, or he can ensure a kill, because the 2/2 is no joke. He goes to 4, you evil him 6. If he stays on board, Storm, Albert 12, that's 18. He can secure some kills. But you know, Haven's always in our way, or good Abyss clears, but we do what we can. Gran, he's just Bounce, but like one more. okay. Gran is pretty good. Like the Skybound Evo helps stack Seal Foam, helps stack Sandoval. Like being Valse or draw 2, I mean, it just, I mean, I already told you Valse is amazing. Gran is, I say, almost the same or side grade. It depends on the scenario. When I need a pot of greed, I'm like, thank the Lord, I have Gran. And then there are times where I wish I could just clear something, not commit too many resources, and I'm just like, I wish I had Bounce. But the Evo makes this card so worth. So it's, I thought had it cut to 2 and then it was working out, but sometimes Seal Phone would be like off. So being able to have Gran flexible enough to just proc the 5 or to draw 2 is why I bumped him to 3. Because sometimes I would hold on to him just purely so I would get the Skybound art, but the utility of Gran is being able to just use him just when you need to, instead of like being too greedy. And sometimes I have that issue in this game, but like, I mean, when you're rewarded so good for it, like why do you not agree? But yeah, grand overall, really good addition to Evo Sword. Their aggro sword was pretty good early into the meta, because normally Storm is just good early because a lot of people are experimenting and they get caught off guard. But then once people like put in tools, aggro goes away, and that's why I swapped to like the mid-range once again. But Grand, just a pretty good overall card. He's a neutral too, so he's viable in many other decks. So if you're new to the game, I mean, I think getting placed in a Grand isn't the worst thing ever. There are plenty of other cards you probably want to use your files on, but if you're just looking for neutral slot, you got Odin, you got Grand, you got Gilneas. There are plenty of good cards that go in multiple decks. And we have Zirconia. Zirconia is so good. Ever since the beginning, Zirconia has been so good, but sometimes he's just not enough in this current meta, and sometimes he's just absolutely absurd, right? So there's a lot more board clear potential, and sometimes she herself has to trade out most of the time, so it's not as threatening as she used to be. But nevertheless, a good Zirconia is sometimes just game, so I couldn't pass up having the Zirconia. But when you don't have the Evos, it feels bad to just have a 4/4 vanilla. So more or less, you want to have the Zirconias to Evo, and that's why I had her to 2. If I had her to 3, there was more scenarios where she just became full from vanilla and did nothing on fanfare, and with no Evos, there was no point. There's no Evo regeneration in this deck particularly. I used to have the 5 spell that would regen in Evo, and that was working out for a little bit, but I felt it was good, but it almost felt shoehorned. Like it was too hard to justify, and just cutting down on the fat is probably was just a lot better, right? It's also was kind of expensive to run. I'd like to see in the new set if I can run it for like a different deck, but for now I just think Zirconia 2 is a good spot. I don't want it at 1 because I want to see the card, but I don't want it at 3 where it's viably a 4/4 vanilla with no Evo. So Zirconia is just good because having the 2/2s is like a threat on its own. And even if you can use Zirconia like as a 6/1, 6/2, there are plenty of board clears, but if they cannot, they have to trade a big unit. Because normally, like the bigger units are usually the ones with the nice Evo effect, and I know it feels bad to have to trade, but you don't want to take 6 to the face, and then they'll have to have the 2/2s cleared out, and if not, that's just damage on its own. So 3 bodies on 1, overall good. Want to make sure you Evo it. Enough on Zirconia. Nice. We all know she's a good card. Now Zeta. Oh, Zeta, I have gone from 3 to 2. I think I had her 1 at one point when I was like just experimenting, and just the same thing as Zirconia 2 is a nice spot, but I think I can justify her at 3. The only issue is you have to have like see a phone at 3 in this deck, and that was the only other like 4 I was cutting down on. And yeah, you can already see the ratios are actually already weird, but 2 is a good spot and a pretty great addition. I definitely see her being viable in the next set 100% no matter what, because even if you don't use her aggro like Storm, and in this deck she's easily one of the closers, or at least soften up for the closer Albert because of the Storm. She has the Bane, so the fact that you can use one of the Zeta to just basically Bane, and then like use the other Bane to just do Storm is what makes this card good. 6 is kind of expensive, but like if I'm looking at Valus is also expensive at 6 and Gadari is like, this whole deck has too many 6 drops, man. But Zeta 2 is a really good sweet spot. 3 is justifiable because unlike Zirconia, you don't need the Evo to get the benefits. Like sometimes I just do the 6 drop and I don't even Evo for the extra storm damage, just to do the storm and see if they heal it up. And if not, then that's just me getting closer to killing. Because sometimes if you just Evo the storm unit really early and then they heal it all back, then there was really no point in doing the Evo, especially if it didn't accomplish anything else. The Bane is good, Storm is good, 2 bodies on a 4 drop or enhance 6 for the 2 qualities, because I've been ranting about the fact they get Bane and Storm. Understand, this is on enhance right here, it says it on enhance, that's when you get them. But on 4 you still get 2 bodies. 3-2 is nothing to scoff at, and they have rush, so they board clear if necessary. If I could fit her at 3, I probably would, but I need space for other cards. Maybe I could have taken down the Yelmies down, but it's more about the ratios that were getting me right. 4 is a good spot, and I was having no 3 drops. So, you know, mixing around the 4 drop ratios was probably a necessity. So Zeta, get it 2. 3 is justifiable, just a good card in pretty much every deck, I think. Just, I mean, even in loot you can use it. Like, it's just more damage, but loot you prioritize pretty much the loot so you can, you know, fuse it away. But enough on Zeta, because the MVP of the deck is just CFO. There are cards that you're like, man, I wish I could just drop this with the Skybound art, and you're just like, maybe I can survive. But Seal Phone, oh no, if you still have 1 HP, you want to hold on to it. You want to hold on to it for dear life, because he does not do anything unless he's Skybound art or Super Skybound art, and his Super Skybound art is so nice. It's so nice. It's just a full board of super emote units, and then they all ping for 1 if they have a full board. And just imagine that's 5 free pings to face. That's right. If each unit can clear a unit, that's 5 free pings to the face. 5 free damage, not including if you can storm. So, see if I'm good. You always want to try to get the Super Skybound art, but sometimes this is the nice thing that CF1 has at 3. You can, like, you're not afraid to just do the Skybound art, and then if you have another CF phone in hand, best be sure that you're gonna have a super skybound art seal phone next turn, because like evoing 4 units, that stacks up pretty big. Like the 10 is very feasible, the 15 super easy in this deck, but like it's just it takes a little longer, right? Like we have it's not on the lower tier, it's gonna be up here. We have the 3 Golden Knights. Like these 3 Golden Knights easily help stack. We have Galdaria, that's a free stack. We have the 3 Grants, and that's another reason why Grant is in 3 in this deck in particular, is the free Evo. So we have 3, we have 6, we have 9 free Evos in this deck, not including the CFOs themselves. If we did, that's 12, and we have our standard 4. So that's 16 possible Evos in the whole deck. So this is definitely mid-range Evo, and obviously I'm inflating the fact that we have 16 Evos. You're not gonna Evo 16 times, but the amount of ways we can Evo definitely fuels the CFO, even if we can't refuel them. So the Evos are important to use because you want to use your super Evos to Albert most of the time. At least one, right? You save at least one as a finisher. But if you don't super Evo or Evo, I understand, it's just GG, because you need to be able to board clear. But you have to Evo pretty reliably on Albert or time them well in this deck. So it's good to know how many Evos you have, plan them out, and plan out how to get to them. So if we've gone this far and you don't know what Skybound Art is, I'll just explain it real quick. Skybound Art is 10 gauge basically, and it ranks up per turn. So turn 1, you know, it's Skybound Art 1, turn 2 it's Skybound Art 2, and it will rank up to turn 10. That's too slow, right? So every time you Evo, it also increases the Skybound Art as well. So that's why we emphasize Evos in this deck. So you can reliably grand pretty early. Let's say like turn 6, turn 7, because you just Evo twice and more or less he's just stacked, right? So the earliest you're probably gonna drop grand on a Skybound Art, it's going to be 8, because you can Evo twice before turn 8, and then turn 8 added, you know, to the Skybound Art, that's 10. So that's 1 Evo. If we're on turn 7, Golden Knight will also, you can do the super Evo. Normally we want to hold on to 9, but we'll talk about that in just a second. But as I've been reading, CFO, it's just you never want to drop it unless you can Skybound or super Skybound. It's pretty much the crutch, the crux of this deck. The crux of this deck. I believe that the crux of this deck. Being able to just the reason why Abyss is a hard matchup is because they have the drop that basically does 10 to the whole field, and you'll set up this amazing board and then just gets all cleared out. And that's kind of like it's kind of how you just have to play the deck. You either play the deck and then you build these big boards and hope they stay, or you build these big boards and then you can clear the boards back. But you should understand when you're playing against Abyss, it is likely that it will either go away or you'll win. So either you get board cleared or you win. It's kind of one or the other, right? I see if it's a star, and Luminous Mage is a good stall and setup card. The amount of times that Luminous Mage just sticks on board is surprising to me sometimes, because Luminous Mage like looks harmless. It's a 1/3, but the fact that she gives ward to all officers sometimes makes her a lot more annoying that people give her. Like she needs more credit. Like those wards are pretty good. Like if you super evo Galaria, she gets her soldiers out, they now have ward and rush. So I could either board clear or sit on them and they have to deal with them. And then if she's just in general pretty good card, a pretty good setup, and oh my god, she is like the best thing to use with Seal Foam. It is basically a 2-card combo for a full board. You Luminous Mage, that's 4 units, her 3 soldiers, and Seal Foam Super Skybound art, they will all be super evoed, and that is so nice. 3/5, 3 5/5s. Wait, yeah, it's 5/5s, and Luminous Mage is 4/6. Sorry, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, Luminous Mage 4/6. All her soldiers are 5/5s, and then Seafoam himself is a 7/6. Like it's just pretty big. And I understand, like I said earlier, the boards get cleared, but when the boards stay, you just know you win. And even if they can just partially clear, usually that's pretty good damage. Just having 1 or 2 units, that's a good enough swarm for Albert to just come and clean it up. Speaking of Albert, at this point I should just globe him. I'm trying to find out if we're having a rotation. If we're having a rotation, I might not globe him, but all my homies love Albert. Just say it with me. All my homies love Albert. Let's go. You just super evo, and he does 12 damage to face all by himself. Also, he does do 3 damage. That's pretty big. A lot of the chump blocks that people put, like just wards, just try to sustain themselves, and Albert takes care of them. The only thing that stops him is obviously Rune, when they just put the golems with the barrier, and can't clear those. But for the most part, Albert is your closer. That's why he's at 3. The ratio, if I've gone from 1 to 2 to 3, I bounced around, and overall I'd like to see Albert than not see Albert. So 3 it is. 1, never saw him. 2, sometimes I would see him when I needed him. Sometimes he would be completely dead, but most of the time it wasn't enough. And at 3, it's kind of the same thing I had with like Gran. You can just throw him and not care. It's like sometimes you don't have too much in hand and you want to save your evos, and you obviously have 3 Alberts. You can just drop Albert and trade if you need to, or drop Albert. Do 5, and and you can test out if they're gonna heal or not. And sometimes that chunk, like that big chunk that you do, is good enough to like win, because they can't heal it. You ping them like 2-3 more times, maybe like a super Evo or from like Seal Foam, like you get 3 ping ping ping, and then on turn 9 you just close it out with your second Albert if you can, right? So overall, I think Elmer can be a 2, maybe even a 1 of, but in this particular deck, he's a 3 of because you just want to see him. He's your main closer, and if he's not your main closer, he can at least clear some boards if you're really down. You have plenty of board clear. You have the Galdaria, you have Golden Knight, you have Valis, you have a lot of built-in, like Grand does 5 plus the Evo. You have the Ignominious Samurai as like your Bane. So there is plenty of different ways to board clear, but overall, he's your closer. He's at 3, so you can see him, but I understand him being at 2 or 1 because he's cloggy, or you only want to see him at a certain point. But Albert is never truly dead in the hand, to be honest. As long as they're not high rolling. But I'd have Albert at 3 most of the time, minimum 2. Having him at 1, I've ran him before. It just you just can't find him when you need him most of the time. Now the 1 of Sandalphone is completely fine. He tutors himself. Like, you evo 6 times. I've already told you, you have like up to 16 evos in this deck, basically, including the evos you start with. But 16 evos, you only have to evo 6 times. He does emote. He basically tutors himself to your hand. So having 1 is completely fine, and this is our backup plan, right? If we cannot Albert, because we were forced to use all our evos, all our super evos, just to survive. Survival is the priority. It's the only way you can win. If you lose before you win, then there's no point. Xenophon is our closer alongside a Sweetness, Veracity from Gillies. But you can do these 2, or if you can somehow like do a Zeta and Xenophon, that's also game in certain scenarios. One of these will clear, or both of them can clear, and then you do 10 to face. But overall, just having 1 Xenophon is good. There are plenty of decks that run more than 1 because they center around being able to use him as a finisher. But in this deck, he's more of a backup plan, and it is reliable. A lot of times I've used him to win, but in this deck it's a little harder to use than others because most of the board clear comes from the units themselves, and they're pretty cost heavy. So with 4 play points, you don't really have that much clear enough that Xenophon himself will hit the leader all 5 times. So having him in 1 is good, on top of just having the Cress's heal, because heal is very minimum in this deck. The nice boost is Golden Knight, because the 4 heal. Golden Knight, Xenophon, and Gilneas are the only ways to heal in this entire deck, and sometimes I wish I had a little bit more heal, but then it would ruin the entire deck because I cannot fit anything else. Like, we already have the weird ratios. We have a 1 Xenophon, 2 Zirconia, 2 Azam, 2 Amelia, like 2 Gilneas. Like, I have these a lot of 2-ofs, and then the 1 line late. No, you just can't, right? But we survive just with these heals, and we have no counterplay to Abyss, just 20 hits besides just win. But 107 perfectly good. Survivability is nice with just the 1 heal. The 2 heals can sometimes be pretty big. just to be outside of certain lethal ranges and survive, and also just nice backup plan. Amalia is just draw. I mean, she's not just draw. She's a really reliable unit, and she's cheap because she can cheapen herself by recovering 3 play points. Sometimes the barrier is a win in some scenarios. There are a lot more just raw destruction from the other classes that make the barrier obsolete, and it's understandable. She was really annoying the first 2 expansions because there wasn't many ways to get rid of the barrier and to destroy, because all of it was ping. But now that there's just straight up destruction, the barrier is not enough sometimes, but in certain scenarios it's game winning. So I wouldn't give up Amalia, but I need to tone her down to 2 because there's too many high costs. Like, obviously this doesn't look like a lot, but 9 cards, like a fourth of the deck, is pretty high cost. And when we're playing mid-range and we're trying to kill them pretty mid to late game, because we don't have Amalia. Because we had Amalia and we were going to like 8 play points, we were playing even more on the more play point side, and we got like the dog, we got Amalia, we'd be able to play higher cost cards. But in this deck, I'm like trying to focus on building boards so that we can also drop them with CO phone, and anything past 6 play points is not viable with CO phone, and so it's just it's just hard to justify having too many of these, especially with the evos are pretty precious in this, and you have to sacrifice a super evo for the barrier. Overall, I can understand being at 3 and 2. Don't really understand 1, then you just cut her in general, right? But the draw power is just nice, and we can drop her down to 2 because we have Grant, because Grant also can draw his cards, so we're not completely dead out of the water. And we have Illyria for the 1 tutor. So sometimes I do wish she was at 3 just to have that extra hand size, but sometimes I will just overdraw because I don't have to board clear too much, because Gran will evo, he will clear himself, and then he draws 2. So overall, I think keeping her 2 is nice. She does good synergies with the classic Amalia into Magus, so you barrier all the soldiers. She can combo with Zeta, which is really nice. Give barrier to 1 and Bane. Overall, at 2, pretty solid. At 3, can understand, but it's pushing it when you have so many other cards you want to evo, you want to use. She's just becomes pretty much a vanilla. She does draw 2. I mean, I'm not knocking it. She is a body. She is just overall good, but it's hard to justify past the 3 in this particular deck. Gadarium, instant 3. Instant 3. She is the main way we board clear scenarios that we wouldn't be able to board clear. This card is broken. She was broken the set she came out. She is brokenness. Not as brokenness, but she does so much. This deck has a little bit of issue stacking her rally. That's the biggest problem. You're not really gonna like always drop the Luminous Magus and sure, Luminous like Lance Trooper and Zeta have 2 bodies on board, but you're not maxing out on the Zirconias. You don't have much else besides them who generate more bodies. You're not running Amalia or the Doge, so it's a lot harder to get the Rally 20, but yeah, if you can just utilize the Rally 20s, she's pretty much your late game beast, because sometimes you hit late game, you've used all your resources, you're in the grind game, and as long as it's not Abyss with their guaranteed kill, I mean, I guess you could also say if Forest had their they draw the old man, but as long as it's not an OTK, the grind game is good in this deck, especially with Galdaria. The free super evos, free board clear. Like if herself and her effect doesn't board clear, she has the steel clad knights, so he's just the MVP of this deck, and it clears boards that you would not normally be able to clear. Sometimes just doing those 2 pings is big, because they're like Rune with the barrier golems can be so annoying to clear because you don't have just straight destruction, so you have to find a way to get rid of the barrier. Galdaria does it, and because it does 2 pings, you ping 1 gets rid of the barrier, ping 2 goes from a 3-2, and then they can be killed by knights. So overall, Galdaria 3, make no mistake, if you're like any mid-range or anything that's not aggro, you run Galdaria 3. Even in aggro, can be justifiable because you don't have any point clear in that deck. So just having her can sometimes be enough. More Albert, but you know, Albert's not really the board clear. He's the finisher. We're almost here, and then we have Golden Knight. Golden Knight got that Battle Pass old art. Pretty happy with it. This is probably one of the biggest swings in this game. Like, she's super even. We're gonna talk about the enhanced 9 because almost every time you're gonna do enhanced 9, and it is kind of nice that she's a 7 drop because you can do some pretty strong stuff at 7, but let's just talk about enhanced 9. Super Evo, she's 9/9. She deals 4 to all enemies, and she restores 4 damage. She's our sustain. She can board clear. She can make herself really big. She's just one of my favorite cards in the set. Like, she can get rid of some really strong units, and then get rid of all the chum block or anything that would threaten the board that's anything below 5. So I would definitely just I mean, it depends on the deck. Aggro, you're never running this deck. You're never running this in the deck. No way. You're too focused on trying to kill early. Mid-range, you don't want this deck. You want this. I mean, even on 7, she could be a 9/9 and get rid of a unit. On 7, she could just simply clear a full board as long as it's below 5. And in the clutch scenarios where you just need to heal out of lethal, you drop her 7 super evo, you can also clear. So Golden Knight is just super good, and it's works out really nicely that we can tutor specifically for her. So on turn, let's say it's turn 8, and you're like, you need a Golden Knight and you have one in hand but you don't want to use it, you just simply Lyria enhance 8, you recover the 7, you drop the Golden Knight, and I've already said this before, they think that you already used your Golden Knight, you don't have another one, you make full board, and then you clear full board. So that's pretty much the deck. If you have any questions, you can leave it in the comments below, but pretty much explained a lot of the reasoning behind the deck. I'm releasing plenty of videos showing off other iterations of the deck, but I'm particularly showing the changes that I made and the reasons how a lot of things are in the deck, like the one Sandalfall, like I said, necessary, optional closer, the heal from lethal. 3 Golden Knights are pretty much the center place alongside Seal Phone, because this helps stack Seal Phone. It just overall board clears all her own, heals, does damage, can be tutored by Lyria because she's the highest in the deck, 7 or more, and she's the only 7, so it will just tutor for Golden Knight. And this is only because she is 7 that it tutors. So if you're ever curious how you could force that scenario, you have to have a low pet deck. That's why I'm not running the Amalia. It's mainly so I can tutor the Golden. And that's why we have the one Lyria. I didn't want to go too hard into Lyria because all it is basically one tutor, a 1/1 barrier, and sure it would set up for some CO phone plays, but I'd rather just have something else, right? Any Samurai already harped pretty much board clear for things that you can't board clear naturally in this deck, because everything pretty much pings or does direct damage. Grim, 2 Bonnies, Maid is super strong. Luminous Lance Trooper, pretty versatile with Prim, with Magus, with Eldario, Gilneys, utility card, plenty of ways, heal, weakness, veracity, complete backup plan with Sandalfall, but most of the time, if you're going down that route, it's probably too late for you. But I mean, sometimes it closes games out. Bounce, overall card, ever since it came out, pretty much board clear trade, because 5 damage is pretty big unless we're talking about later into the game. And then enhance 6, he himself can help facilitate OTKs, because he becomes basically a 6/5 on ambush with Albert, 18 damage. You only would have to have pinged them twice. Grand, basically higher utility battles with the cost of 1, because he can do 5 damage or draw 2, and he can evo, so facilitate Seal Phone. Zirconia, we all know why she's good. Zeno, Being Storm, Seal Phone, centerpiece of the whole deck, allowing for super evos. Luminous Mage, super combo with Seal Phone. Albert, he's our GOAT. He is the GOAT. He is our finisher. I already talking about Sandalfall, Alia. Can be 4, can be 2, but it is our draw power. ability to barrier, but you can't in games. And Ganaria, our major board clear free super evil monster, right? And lastly, Golden Knight is pretty much Galdaria, just without the extra bodies. And I mean, I'm torn because I think both of these are like pretty big in this deck. This being able to restore 4, deal 4 damage, and super evo, this almost feels like a legendary, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm so glad she is a gold. That way she was in this set alongside like Zeta Beta in Seal Foam. Like, she is so that is the deck profile. I've gone through pretty much everything TLDR. Some of the major combos, the main goals of the deck, the backup plan, and the reasonings for some of the ratios. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. You still have 6 days for the season. If the battle pass has an indicator, so if I can help anyone, that's why I just post this deck. And if you are enjoyed this season, just feel free to say why you did. I personally really like this season. I definitely have that mid-range feel. It felt pretty nice, almost like what is it, like the first 2 set expansions felt really good, but then I swapped to Haven. But yeah, tangent aside, I'm really bad at saying goodbye, so I'm just saying see you later.